welcome back to my channel. I'm Duncan. Just like to thank you to everyone that's subscribed to my channel so far, has been watching my content. It does mean a lot to me. It's been really nice to see a few people watching the videos and responding, commenting, talking about books. It's always great when you get a little bit of interaction stuff when you're starting on YouTube. Yeah, it's just been really nice. Just gonna do a recent reads. It's kind of a June wrap up / Friday reads. Fridays aren't great for me, so I never do Friday reads, but I do quite like the format of just what you read, what you're starting to read. Yeah, sorry, just hanging out with Boy here. He's kind of a bit sleepy. The hot weather just kind of sleeps most of the day when it's hot like this. Has a bit of energy in the morning, bit of energy in the afternoon. That's about it, really. So yeah, it's just a nice time to hang out with him and record some booktube videos. So it's been a bit of a tough week for me this week, actually. I don't know about everyone else, but I've been very up and down since about mid-March. I guess a lot with the whole pandemic situation. Everything's been going on since. It's been quite the ride this year. I started a new job last October as well, and so even like from January there was a lot of upheavals and getting used to a lot of stuff. This week was a bit tough though, because my family was supposed to visit in September, but with the cancellation of flights, the border's still closed. It doesn't look like it's gonna get opened until at least August, and so they've cancelled that trip. So I was kind of looking forward to that. I haven't seen my parents in 2 years, and I haven't seen my sisters in about 4 years, I think. And maybe the last time we were all together was probably when I got married about 6 years ago. So yeah, it's been a bit tough in that regard, and I was looking forward to that, but it is what it is. I think my in-laws are coming to a cottage nearby in August, so just get to see them at least at a distance. Should be able to talk to them in person, so that'll be quite nice. But yeah, a little bit disappointing, but I guess it is what it is, and hopefully it'll get sorted out sometime soon. And yeah, I'm not sure when I'm going to get back to the UK as well, so it's all quite tough, but I'll get through it. And just kind of been reading a lot for fun, a lot of escapism. But yeah, I'll get on with the kind of recent reads, June wrap up, really. I guess most of these were finished in June, start of July. So the first book is Death in the Family by Tessa Wegert. I did an individual video for this, kind of rambled through a little bit. It's basically a murder / missing persons case on an island in the middle of a northwest storm in I think like October. It's it's start of fall, really. It's a northeaster storm. The detectives get there just in time, and the backup is not able to get in there, so it's just the two of them. It's been described as an Agatha Christie style, but I really wouldn't describe it as that. I think it's doing a disservice. It's got a lot of there's a lot of unreliableness about it. It's not so much that the narrator is unreliable, it's that she's kind of going through a bit of psychological like PTSD, Stockholm syndrome kind of backstory stuff. So she's kind of going through that whilst trying to solve the murder / missing persons, and the witnesses are very unreliable. And yeah, it was just I really enjoyed it in the end. It took a little bit of time to warm up, even though the murder or murder / missing persons case had happened, like the main stuff happened before the book had started, which I quite like. I don't necessarily like too much of like getting to know people and then there's a murder. So that was quite good, but yeah, it took a little time to get going, but when it did, it was really good. But definitely setting up for the next book, so I'm definitely interested to read the next book in the series and kind of see how it is from there. I think the next book will kind of wrap up a lot of the backstory, loose ends and stuff, and I think it will definitely decide if it's a series I want to continue with. And yeah, it's definitely, the themes are family in place, I would say. Definitely a very interesting family in place. And yeah, so that was that one. And next stop is a bit of just a naked hardback. So it's kind of silly to hold up, but it's Laura by Vera Caspary. It's a noirish / crime mystery / almost kind of romance novel in some regards. I think Vera Caspary described it as a as a romance novel with crime illusions. It's from the 1940s. It's fantastic. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the movie with Dana Andrews, Gene Tierney, and Vincent Price plays the husband to be in that as well. And I can't remember the actor that plays Walter Lightdecker, but absolutely fantastic as well. It was just a hoot. It was just so good. Obviously, I love the movie. I've watched the movie so many times. I know what happens, but it's still so worth reading. And it's different. It's really great narrative, whether it's been played with a narrative. It's different characters take on different parts of the book, and it flips in between. And at one point, there's a police stenographer report. It's just really good. It's one of the best crime novels I've read in recent memory. Highly recommended it. It's a nice female-written crime novel from the 40s. And so yeah, it's probably not known as well as a lot of the other 40s outfit, but it's definitely up there with a lot of them. It's not quite hard-boiled, but it's got a lot of great lines that you might associate with kind of like Chandler. And so, but yeah, it was really good. Totally recommend it if you ever see a copy of it. Next up's Big Boy Didn't Run Away by Christopher Brookmyre. This is a crime thriller set in Scotland. It's basically a terrorist plot. It's kind of fun. It's satirical. It's got a lot of rants and stuff that if you ever read Christopher Brookmyre's first half of his career stuff, then you'll know what I mean. It's definitely very Scottish. I don't know what it would be like to read them if you're not Scottish. I think you definitely have to know a lot of lingo, and there's a lot of little jokes and stuff that you have to kind of know about Scotland at least to get the jokes. So it's kind of hard to recommend to a non-Scot, but I really enjoy it. It was a reread for me. I read it about 15 years ago probably now. It was just kind of scary to think about that was 15 years ago that I read that, because it didn't seem that long ago. But yeah, it was good to reread actually. It's kind of brought back a bit of nostalgia. It probably wasn't as good the second time around, but it's again, it's like I kind of know what's happening. I think the actual outcome stuff isn't really that necessary to enjoy the novel, but it started to wrap stuff up. I kind of knew what was going to happen. I actually remembered the book quite well, so it was nice experience to try out to see what the reread was like. But yeah, it was just kind of nice to be back into company with an old favourite. And yeah, there's just a book I had to get rid of because when I met my wife, kind of had to pack all my stuff up in 2013, and I got rid of all my books, and so it's kind of nice to have a book from before then back into my collection again. And yeah, hard to recommend though. I would definitely say, unless you very much are Scottish or very versed in Scottish lingo and kind of culture, I guess. And then last up is the first in the Matt Helm series. This is Death of a Citizen by Noel Hamilton, and this was just like one of the best starts to a series I've ever read. It's probably up there with the Devil in the Blue Dress by Walter Mosley to start the Easy Rolling series. So this is Matt Helm is when we meet him, he's basically a Western writer. This is set in 1960. He's a Western writer of like violent Western novels, living in New Mexico. He's not in the where they do the nuclear testing, but he's not too far from it. And basically, we learn a little bit that he had a bit of a shadowy war career, that he was kind of a part of an elite team that was kind of didn't exist in the official circles, and so he's not allowed to tell anybody, including his wife, about his involvement. And so everyone kind of thinks he had a pretty boring war career, and he writes these really violent Western novels, but they're not really sure how he knows so much about that kind of thing. It's kind of like they think he's very creative, rather than actually just it's a way of his processing some of the stuff that he did and saw in the war. But anyway, all is good until he sees he's at a party and he sees an operative that he worked very closely with during the war, who gives him the signal that they had. And so he gets like right back in it, and it's basically the death of a citizen that refers to as basically the death of Matt Helm as a citizen, as he kind of gets brought back into this world of it's kind of espionage, but his role in it is more of like an NSA type outfit, and his job is more of a just kind of getting rid of people by any means necessary. So it's not really I wouldn't call this espionage fiction, spy fiction, more so than it's kind of like more kind of shadowy government operations. He doesn't really do any fact-finding or sneaking around for information or dealing with other spies or anything. He's literally just gets told about somebody that needs removing, and he removes them. That's kind of the thing. It's so well written. It's amazing. For all first person, which is, I absolutely love first person narrative, especially in this kind of genre. And yeah, just some of the writing is amazing. Just talking about how this is a great one-liner about how they make roads in New Mexico, and it's just the descriptions and stuff for the way they use it is great. I didn't make any bookmarks to quote anything from it, but yeah, it's just, if you ever see Matt Helm and you love kind of hard spy, hard kind of crime stuff, then I think you'll love this. And yeah, that's about it. I mean, this was so good that I think I'm just gonna pick up the second one in the book, and the second one straight away. But I think what I'm gonna start reading is, I'm probably gonna start reading this one straight away, The Wrecking Crew, which is the second one. This was also released in 1960. This is the second Matt Helm. I have like 24 of the 27 of the Matt Helm series. So definitely, I think I'm just gonna work my way through. I'm definitely on crime spy thriller kick right now, and I think I'll just read until I'm bored with them, or I might pick up some like a Graham Greene novel that kind of crosses between literary and genre fiction, and that'll be my way out. But right now I'm just loving it so much that I think I'll just write it out. And I think I'll also read this one, Other People's Money. Probably delve into this week. This is by author Lyons, and it's a Jacob Ash mystery. I think this is the 10th one in this series. And yeah, I just found out about this from the Rambling Raconteur. So thanks so much for that recommendation. Yeah, I'm excited to see how this is. Just saw this at a bookstore in Kingston, which isn't too far away. And I definitely just grabbed it. So yeah, I'm quite excited to start that. And that's pretty much what my reading is going to be. I also got to do the Umberto Eco's, was it the Focault's Dream or so, whatever it's, I can't remember what the book's called anymore, but Jason over at Lyons and Bookland is doing a Umberto Eco read-along, so I think I'm going to challenge myself with that. I just got it on the Libby app, so I think maybe it'll work. Maybe I'll read that in my lunch hour, or lunch half hour, I guess, try and see if I can make head or tail read that at all. And yeah, I think that's pretty much what my reading is going to be like this week. Try not to make, I did made a TBR for the last month, but it didn't go at all well. I had a bit of a tough month in the reading sense, and kind of just went a bit sideways and got the Matt Helm stuff, and yeah, I think I'm not really a mood reader so much as a whim reader, and so I just kind of, it's more what, I see a book or whatever on my bookshelf and I want to read that. It's not so much like I'm in the mood for mystery, or I'm in the mood for spy, or I'm in the mood for this certain kind of plot. It's just more like, oh, I think I need to read this, but my whims are definitely taking me all to the thrillers right now, so yeah, I'm gonna ride that out, and I think me and boy just gonna settle down with a little book here, and we'll see you all soon, so bye.